What's up, nieces and nephews, and welcome back to After the Snap. It is I, your Auntie Tosh, and I'm here to talk today about the Batman. Remember the Batman, the Matt Reeves version and vision for the Caped Crusader came out a couple years ago, and it was extremely well received, but for all intents and purposes. It was so well received that Matt Reeves pitched to the WB executives a couple of series that he wanted to spin off from the Batman to kind of dive a little deeper into the world of that Batman character. Now, as far as I can remember, those three series were to be The Penguin, Arkham Asylum, and Gotham Knights, I believe. It's about the Gotham Police Department. And I thought that everybody was on the same page. I thought we all decided that this is a world that needed a little more building, especially since it's running concurrently with James Gunn's DCU, concurrent but separate. So whatever goes on in James Gunn's universe is not what's going on in the Matt Reeves Batman universe. You get what I'm saying? But if you haven't noticed, I'm talking in past tense. So when I speak in past tense, that means that these things were supposed to happen, but they're not going to happen. And it's because, of course, of studio interference. The studio says, no, we want to lean further into the marquee characters. And I'm like, no, we need some world building, especially if Matt Reeves is saying that these are pieces that would complement the Batman story, especially since we're getting a part 2 of the Batman. We won't be seeing that until 2026. That is enough time for us to kind of get used to a new set of players or the same old players, but learn how they move and what motivates them in this universe. So this is coming to us from Variety, and it's an article written by Zach Sharf entitled "The Batman Spinoff Shows on Gotham PD and Arkham Got Dropped After HBO Execs Wanted to Lean Harder into Marquee Characters," says Matt Reeves. Going through this article, the Batman director, Matt Reeves, recently told Entertainment Weekly that the series centered on the Gotham Police Department and Arkham Asylum were dropped after HBO executives suggested that they wanted to focus more on marquee characters from the Batman universe. Reeves is expanding the universe he launched in the Batman into television, starting with this fall's The Penguin. That's where Colin Farrell is going to reprise his role as the Gotham City gangster. When I first heard that Matt Reeves was proposing these series, I wasn't excited. In fact, I was a little reticent because sometimes the WB series that are around our DC heroes and anti-heroes, uh, sometimes they are done extremely well. But then I'm looking at you, Titans. Sometimes they shit the bed. And look, Titans was good for the first couple of seasons, and then they started jumping the shark. And I'm like, why are we doing all of this? But neither here nor there. After I saw the Batman, and after I saw the grittiness of it, the of emphasis on the detective Batman, the way the city actually looked bleak, I'm like, yes, I would like to know more about this universe because it's all separate, right? So as long as this universe Batman is dealing with his rogues gallery, I was all for it. So Matt Reeves in this article goes on to talk about how as they were writing the Batman, he began to conceptualize these series that could be kind of tie-ins to the Batman in his universe. And after watching the Batman, of course, you like give Matt Reeves what he wants because it's almost genius casting for Robert Pattinson, who I was a little bit wary of when they cast him, but he did an outstanding job as this version of Batman. Zoe, oh, what is her last name? Zoe Kravitz. Zoe Kravitz did an outstanding job as the Catwoman, and Colin Farrell stole the show with his version of the Penguin. So there was a lot to look forward to in this universe, especially uh, given how well this movie did. But anywho, the Batman spinoff series centered on the Gotham Police Department was announced in July 2020. 2 years before we got the movie, right? So this has been something that the WB execs had signed off on. Of course, we know things changed and the hands of the company changed in that amount of time. And there was studio interference before we got into this Warner Brothers Discovery era. But Zaslav, I think his name is David Zaslav. If his name ain't David Zaslav, that's what his name is today. I'm not looking it up. He has put his hands in a whole lot of the uh, DC Universe shit, and it's not always for the good. And after hearing some of Matt Reeves' ideas for what these projects would have been, hearing his ideas for those two series, it really makes me wonder if, okay, are we just going to lump all of that in to the Penguin series, or are we just abandoning these ideas altogether? Because as I'm reading what his thoughts were for those characters, they were sound. He had a very sound plan. I'm going to continue with the article, okay? Reeves said on the Happy, Sad, Confused podcast in March 2022 that the original plan for the Gotham PD series was to take inspiration from Sidney Lumet's Prince of the City and center the show on a corrupt Gotham cop. The series was to be set 1 year before the Batman, as the Gotham Police Department reckoned with the emergence of Batman and its own internal corruption. I like the idea. I like the idea that this corrupt police department now has somebody working against them from the outside, which in essence makes him an enemy to the police. Of course, we know that's Batman's story anyway, but how do we get from the Batman's vigilantism and Gordon embracing the Batman? Matt Reeves went on to say it wasn't going to be a Batman story. It was going to be about this corrupt cop. It was going to be about how the worst gang in Gotham were the Gotham City Police Department. And the cop was going to come across paths. He would have touched paths with Gordon, who would have been someone to measure him against. It's that whole, you don't really realize how bad you are until somebody good walks into the equation. So it would have been a battle for the cop's soul. And then the project failed to get off the ground. Reeves then pivoted to another spinoff idea. That one was going to be centered on Arkham Asylum. So Antonio Campos came on board to serve as writer and showrunner of the series, but Variety reported earlier this month that plans for the show had been scrapped. Now, speaking to Entertainment Weekly, Matt Reeves said these two ideas for a spin-off series were tabled once executives at HBO offered their guidance for where the Batman universe should go in its move to television. They were like, we like what you're doing and we want to lean harder into the marquee characters. So it's not like, we like what you're doing. Why don't you tweak this and why don't you do that? It's, we want nothing but marquee characters. Now, listen, I understand the need to introduce marquee characters, and I understand the desire to push uh, the named villains and that sort of thing. But man, this was an opportunity to give you another peacemaker, right? We have seen what some of the Marvel projects have done, and I know I'm taking it to the MCU. We have seen what some of the Marvel projects have done with lesser known heroes. And a lot of that is because people don't already have their mind completely made up as to what this person is or who this person is. All we have to do is get a good cast, and you could sell lesser known villains to a wider audience. Again, Peacemaker, the Suicide Squad, the Suicide Squad. You see what I did there? But this was an opportunity to expand the universe with characters that are not as well known, because I can guarantee that in the DCU, in James Gunn's universe, we're going to see a lot of the characters that we know already. We're also going to see some obscure ones because it is James Gunn. But we're going to see a lot of the heroes and villains that we know already. And why do we need two different universes under the same WB umbrella showing us the same characters? This was a missed opportunity again for the WB, just like they did that ish with that Batgirl movie. Here they are putting their fingers in the fucking pudding one more time. Matt Reeves did go on to say that elements from the Gotham PD show would end up finding their way into the Penguin series. So I guess that's good. Going on with the article, though, it says what's interesting is that in the movie, the big red herring of the story is it seems like the person they're looking for, that the Riddler's pointing to, must be the Penguin, some kind of informant, Reeves explained. The movie creates a power vacuum, kind of like what we saw in Shang-Chi. But the movie creates a power vacuum. And because Penguin is so underestimated, people don't really see who he is. The Penguin is set 1 week after the conclusion of the Batman. Head writer and showrunner Lauren LaFranc told EW that the show is the bridge between the two films, meaning Reeves' upcoming The Batman Part 2 and The Batman will be linked by the Penguin. Sequel to The Batman is not coming into theaters into 2026. So LaFranc went on to say we're going almost directly into the second film Matt has planned. So we have this good news. The Penguin is going to be coming out very, very soon. It's set to premiere on HBO and it's going to stream on HBO Max on September 19th. The show's first season consists of 8 episodes. So, you tell me, what do you think? Would you have liked to have seen the Gotham PD series and the Arkham Asylum series, or do you think Penguin is enough? Maybe once I see the Penguin series, at least the first season, because that's what they're saying, and maybe we'll have consecutive seasons that can add some of the Arkham Asylum arc into it. But anywho, do you think that these two series will be missed? Or do you think we're going to make it all up in the Penguin? Let me know down in the comments. While you're there, like, comment, subscribe, do all of that stuff. And I will see you in the next one. Peace.